Chapter 6. Tender Reprisals. Because she went to the hospital, when she went to class, she was already half an hour late. In order to make up for her mistake, she exempted the child from the tuition fee for today. It was already dark when she came out of her student's house. Laura Green took the bus back to school. Elsie Clark was the only one left in the dorm. Elsie Clark looked at her with a dark expression. Laura Green said coldly, "Elsie Clark, move out." She went to her desk, sat down, and opened the book. "Why?" Elsie Clark walked to Laura Green's side. "Laura Green, what did I do wrong? Avery went to bed with me because Avery has me in his heart. Since you can't give him what he wants, why don't you let him go? He doesn't like you anymore. I'm the one he loves now." Laura Green closed the book, stood up, and looked at her with eyes full of alienation and indifference. "What he wants, I really can't give, because I'm not a prostitute. Also, I didn't hold him back and didn't let him go. I've already said it before. I don't want Avery Harris anymore. I'll give it to you as a gift. As for this dorm, as long as I'm here, you have to leave. Really? Then move away, because I won't move out." Laura Green laughed coldly. "All right then, you'd better not regret it." She didn't say anything else. She just sat down, opened the book, and began to do her exercises. Elsie Clark, who was standing at the side, clenched her fists and glared at her. She snorted as she returned to her own bed. The next day, the whole school was talking about the matter of the bookworm, Laura Green's roommate, seducing her boyfriend and getting discovered by her. After class was over, just as Laura Green was about to leave, Elsie Clark rushed in from outside. She ran up to Laura Green and cried out, "Laura Green, why are you doing this to me? I like you so much. Why are you slandering me on the forum?" She stood up and looked at her with a sad expression. "Because I was hurt by you. I saw with my own eyes that the two of you were in bed, and I was really sad and in pain, but I also liked you a lot. So, when you said that you could give Avery a body and I couldn't, I already admitted it. How could I go to the forum and scold you? I already gave him to you. What else do you want me to do?" Wiping her tears, she walked around Elsie Clark and left sadly. Elsie Clark was stunned. So Laura Green had set up a trap here. The truth of the matter was revealed by the two parties involved, and the victim had actually spoken the truth himself. In an instant, the name Elsie Clark became the most famous third party in Northern City Normal University. After all, besides Laura Green, who was an outstanding student of Northern City Normal University, she had also been taken as the school beauty and goddess by the boys of Northern City Normal University. In the past, everyone said that Avery Harris must have saved Earth in his previous life, which was why he obtained the goddess heart. But now, everyone said Avery Harris had probably been blinded by the stars when he saved the world. So he kept the flowers in his pocket and had to eat shit. Laura Green walked out of the office building and was considering going out to rent a room when her cell phone rang. She took out her phone and saw that it was William Walton. Why did he call her again? She picked up the phone in annoyance. "Hello, Mr. Walton." "Hello? Yes. It's not time for the tutoring yet. Is Mr. Walton looking for me? Today's weather is pretty good." Laura Green raised her head to look. A cloudy sky. Right? Otherwise, what else could she say? "I remember that Miss Green said yesterday that she would come wash my car after the rain stopped." Chapter 7. Eat a meal with him. In the middle of the afternoon, Laura Green appeared in the first floor of Imperial Emblem Group's hall under the bright sun. The driver took her to the basement parking lot and pointed to the car she'd been in yesterday. "Miss Green, this is the car. I'll give you the keys to the car. I'll go back first." Laura Green felt a headache coming on as she took the keys to the car. Previously on the phone, William Walton asked her, "Do you have a driver's license?" She answered truthfully, "Yes." She didn't lie at all. However, having a driver's license and being able to drive seemed like two different things. She spun around the black car, sighed at last, and prepared to get in. But before she could press the key, the back door opened. William Walton got out of the car. Laura Green was surprised. "Mr. Walton, why are you in the car? Isn't this my car? Can't I be up there?" "Oh, that's not what I meant. Didn't you tell me to take your car to wash the car?" William Walton said coldly, "You don't know how to drive?" Laura Green looked at him with an expression that said, "How do you know?" William Walton spread his hands and said, "Give me the key. Get in the car." He got in the driver's seat, and she was about to sit in the back when William Walton calmly said, "I never was someone else's driver." She thought for a moment, then stepped back, opened the door, and got into the passenger seat. As he started the car and left, Laura Green politely said, "I'm really sorry for dirtying your car and asking you to drive me there to wash my car." "Yeah, because I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I'll give you a chance to do something for me before I wash the car. It's even." "What is it?" "Accompany me for a meal." She looked at him. "Eat? Forget it, I'm not hungry. Besides, it's not appropriate for me to eat alone with you. This car of mine is very expensive. The blanket that you dirty yesterday is worth over 100,000. It's no longer usable now. I'll give you a 50% discount. 50,000 yuan. Do you want to lose money or accompany me to dinner? You're taking advantage of the situation. I just learned from you yesterday. Didn't you like to raise the price on the spot?" She looked at him, annoyed. "Are all the capitalists as fussy as you are? Haven't you heard? The richer you are, the more stingy you are. So what's your choice? To lose money or to eat? I'll eat with you. She was also a person who could give in. When she saw him smirk evilly, she couldn't help but feel that something wasn't quite right. The car suddenly quieted down. She exhaled a breath of air, feeling uneasy. Do you need to play music? She shook her head. No need. Relax then. I'm very relaxed. Is that so? His lips curled up in a mocking smile. She was a bit speechless, because she really was very relaxed. Mr. Walton, you couldn't have fallen for me because of what happened the night before yesterday, right? William Walton glanced at her. She pursed her lips when she saw his gaze. It seemed like she had been too sentimental. Hey, that's good. The car stopped in front of the restaurant's entrance. William Walton pointed at the back of the car and said, There's a set of clothes behind the car. Go and change. In the car? This car is very safe. He got out of the car and leaned against the door. Soon, she changed her clothes and got out of the car. He looked at her with satisfaction in his eyes. He pulled her wrist and naturally stuffed it into the crook of his arm. The two of them went upstairs together. Your task today is to laugh and eat, so don't talk too much nonsense. She wondered, because she felt that today was not just about eating. When they entered the dining room, Laura Green realized that today the person they were going to eat with was a woman. Chapter 8. You like her, right? The woman in the room was beautiful and elegant. Seeing William Walton bring a woman, she was stunned for a moment, then stood up and revealed a gentle smile. William Walton naturally smiled. This is Benjamin's home tutor teacher. You can call her Miss Green. When the woman heard this, she smiled. So it's Miss Green. Hello, I'm Carol Wright. Laura Green nodded to her. Hello, Miss Carol. William Walton sat down. Take a seat. Laura Green sat down beside him. Carol Wright shifted her gaze away from Laura Green and looked at William Walton. I was worried that asking you out for a meal would affect your work. No, but I'll bring Miss Green over. You don't mind. After all, I made an appointment with Miss Green first. Lily shook her head and smiled. No, it's fine as long as Miss Green doesn't mind. I've already ordered all the dishes you like. I just don't know what Miss Green would like to eat. I'll have someone bring the menu over for her to see. Laura Green waved her hand. There's no need, Miss Carol. I'm not picky with food. William Walton's hand naturally caressed Laura Green's head a few times. With a gaze full of love, he said, She's not picky with food. She likes everything I like. His actions caused Carol Wright's smile to freeze on her face. However, she quickly smiled and said, That's good. Miss Green needs to eat more in a while. Laura Green was even more embarrassed. This sudden act of patting her head gave her quite a fright. While eating, William Walton would give her food from time to time. He was as gentle as a boyfriend. Carol Wright didn't talk much. She just ate gracefully. However, from time to time, she would glance at Laura Green, but her eyes did not reveal any emotions. After dinner, the three of them left the restaurant together. William Walton put his arm around Laura Green's shoulders as they walked Carol Wright to the car. Carol Wright turned around and glanced at Laura Green. She said gently, Miss Green, can I have a few words with William alone? All right, then I'll go back to the car first. Laura Green turned around and walked towards William Walton's car. After she left, Carol Wright bit her lips and looked at William Walton with reddened eyes. How have you been recently? It's pretty good. In the future, don't use this method to anger me anymore. I don't want to make you suffer. William Walton looked at her without looking at her. I'm not angry with you. I really feel that Miss Green is not bad. Don't you think so? William, I understand you. I know you did it because William Walton raised his eyes and smiled. Let's go back early. I still have to send Miss Green back to school. There's a meeting in the afternoon. He opened the door for her. Carol Wright sighed, lowered her eyes, said, I'm sorry, then got into the car and left. Returning to the car, Laura Green crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at him with a mischievous smile. William Walton frowned in displeasure. What are you laughing at? You like that little sister just now, right? William Walton looked at her and his eyes widened. She pouted. You obviously like her. You brought me here to provoke Miss Carol, didn't you? Actually, you don't have to be like this. She clearly has a good impression of you. What do you know? Don't speak nonsense in front of me in the future. With a cold face, he started the car and drove away. Laura Green pouted. Later, they won't see each other again. She didn't want to have too much contact with such a big shot. Her mother had said that a rich man was unreliable. If she met a rich man, she had to hide as far away as possible. With Avery Harris as an example, she did not want to repeat the same mistake again. Of course, she might be overthinking things with William Walton. Knowing that he had someone he liked, she actually felt a lot more relaxed in her heart. At least, she wouldn't need to be on her guard anymore. Chapter 9. Underestimate her. She had thought that he had let her out to wash the car as an excuse to eat with him. She hadn't expected that after dinner, he would drive her to wash the car. And he was the one who watched her wash the car. This made her think of the landlord and the landlord's servant girl. After washing the car, he checked it and was very satisfied. She took a deep breath, took off her gloves and threw them aside. Mr. Walton, I can leave now, right? William Walton smiled. Sure, get on the car. I'll send you back to school. She said angrily, No need. I'm afraid I'll dirty your car and have to help you wash it. She turned and left the car wash. William Walton did not keep her either. He brushed past her and she stood, kicking and punching him in the direction he had gone. In the car, William Walton saw her in the rearview mirror and couldn't help but smile. Childish. After 2 intersections, an unfamiliar cell phone's ringtone suddenly rang in the car. He glanced over his shoulder and saw that her bag was lying on the floor in the passenger seat. He parked the car and pulled out her cell phone. The caller was the silly son of the principal's. He frowned. What was this mess? He picked up the phone. Hello. Laura Green walked to the bus stop and was dumbfounded. Her bag was left in William Walton's car, so she had no money, no bus pass, and no phone. She let out a long sigh. This was bad. How was she going to get back? Run back? Was there anything else she could do? She looked at the endless road in the distance. She should be able to reach the school before it gets dark. She was depressed. Ever since she met William Walton, nothing good had happened to her. She took a step forward and trotted. But before she reached 200 meters, a car pulled up beside her. She took a closer look. Wasn't this the car she had just washed? The passenger window rolled down. William Walton looked at her coldly and said, Get on. She walked over but had no intention of getting into the car. Give me my bag. You need at least an hour and a half to get from here to your school by bus 3 times. Are you sure you can make it back to class? She lifted her wrist to check the time and immediately opened the door to the car. William Walton smiled as he started the car and left. Someone just called you. She took out her cell phone and took a look at it before frowning. You picked up my call? In case there's an emergency. She bit her lip. What did he say? He only asked me who I was and where you were. Then what did you say? Is it important? This is my phone number. Since you've answered it yourself, it's not appropriate for you not to talk to me about the contents of the call, right? I said, I'm the target of your extortion. Your bag is in my car. Laura Green heaved a sigh of relief and did not say anything else. William Walton raised his eyebrows. Boyfriend? Did you guys quarrel? She looked at him. This doesn't seem to have anything to do with you. William Walton curled his lips. This woman suited his taste very well, making him want to conquer her. The car drove back to the entrance of Northern City Normal University. Laura Green got off the car and nodded at William Walton. Mr. Walton, thank you for sending me back. Goodbye. Without another word, she turned and walked back into the school. However, after walking not too far, he heard someone call out from not too far away, Laura. Laura Green looked towards the other side of the school gate. There was a Porsche parked by the side of the road. Beside the door, a tall and handsome man leaned against the car as he smiled at her. When Laura Green saw him, she was overjoyed. She ran over and hugged him. William Walton's face was a little dusty on the Maybach parked across from him. The great young master of Anderson family, Nick Anderson? He seemed to have underestimated Laura Green. Chapter 10. Focus on your work. Laura Green left Nick Anderson's arms and looked at him happily. Bro, didn't you say that you still need 2 months to return? Dad broke his leg a few days ago, so I came back early. Her face stiffened. So it's like that. Do you want me to bring you to see him? She lightly shook her head. I'm not going to meet him. You still can't forgive him? She exhaled. How could I forgive him? Besides, I know my place. Laura, don't be like this. I've never treated you as an outsider. Laura Green nodded and smiled. I know. He turned his head to look at Maybach, who had just left. The person in the car just now, was it William Walton? Yes. How did you know him? I'm his younger brother's tutor. You're still working? The car that I gave you is still useless to you? She was silent and only smiled. He sighed. That's not Anderson family's money. It's pocket money I want to give to my sister as an elder brother. But your surname is Bai. Laura, don't be so stubborn. I will feel sorry for you. What's there to be sorry about? I really like my current life. It's so fulfilling. Then promise me, stay away from this William Walton. He's very dangerous and not someone you can mess with. Do you understand? She chuckled. I know. I'm not stupid. He rubbed her head. Come have dinner with me tonight. You just came back. There should be a lot of meals to attend, right? No one's meal is as important as my sister's. I'll come pick you up when you end your lesson. No need. Where are we going to eat? Just send me the address and I'll go myself. Nick Anderson frowned. You still have to work in the afternoon? Yes, you. She smiled as she raised her wrist to look at the time. Brother, I have to go in and attend class. The address for dinner? Send me a message. She turned and trotted into the school. Nick Anderson turned around and looked at the Maybach, who had already disappeared. William Walton wasn't someone who would send Laura to school in his free time. What did he mean? Could it be? What did he find out? After the afternoon class, she was the first to rush out of the classroom because she still had to give Benjamin Walton supplementary lessons. The villa with Walton family, located halfway up the mountain, was very grand. It was made up of 4 two-story buildings. 4th, young Master Benjamin Walton and 5th, Miss Amy Walton, lived in the first 2 buildings. At the back of the house, there was a house that used to be the residence of the 2nd young master. However, after the 2nd young master got married, he moved out to live alone. The other building was the main building of the Walton family villa, which was William Walton's residence. Because the siblings of Walton family had their own residences, in the 3 months that Laura Green had been a home tutor for Benjamin Walton, she had met William Walton twice. Once, during an interview, he gave her questions and she answered them all. The other time was because Benjamin Walton's score in the entrance exam had increased. He gave her a necklace that seemed to be very valuable, but she rejected it. She never thought that she would have so much contact with William Walton in the past few days. In order to avoid him, she went straight to Benjamin Walton's residence. When she arrived at the door of Benjamin Walton's study, she breathed a sigh of relief and knocked on the door. "Come in." At the door, she froze for a moment. "That's not right, isn't this?" William Walton's voice. She pushed open the door. Sure enough, she hadn't misheard. Benjamin Walton was not present. The person sitting in front of the desk was William Walton. "Mr. Walton, why are you here?" William Walton replied without hurry. "This is my house. I'm waiting for you." "Wait for me? Mr. Walton has something to talk to me about?" "Of course. You will live here from now on. Focus on helping Benjamin study." "Live here?" she exclaimed.